And welcome back to the channel. We've got our 5 best bets for November 18th here for college basketball. We've got 5 games that we like today, and we've got 5 games that we really like with a lot of underdogs in this video as well. So we're going to get to all 5 of those games in just a moment. But folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Earlier today, and about an hour ago, we posted our NBA predictions that are also daily on the channel. So go make sure to check that video out if you haven't yet, and go make sure to check out our UFC China predictions that are posted on the channel as well. Yesterday, Divas and Figueiredo and Piotr Jan in the main event in the UFC's bantamweight division. Tomorrow, we will have our college football predictions that are weekly on the channel as well, along with our NFL predictions that come out on the channel on Wednesday. So now that we get all that out the way, make sure to subscribe for more, and let's get into the first of our 5 best bets. And we start things off here with McNeese taking on North Texas. Now, we're taking the dog here. Like we said, again, we're going to take a lot of dogs in this video just because I really like the value we can get out of some of these plays. I really do think so. Regardless if you want to take North Texas on the money line or you want to take North Texas on the spread, that's up to you. But I'm saying I like both of them here. I really do. North Texas is undefeated so far this season. This is a team that's 3-0. They won on the road at Minnesota. Again, I'll be honest, I didn't think that was going to happen. North Texas went on the road and beat the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I will give credit to where credit is due. This is a North Texas team last year who made the NIT. They're 3-0 this season, and yeah, their first 2 wins aren't that impressive. They beat Evansville and they beat Wayland, but the win on the road in Minneapolis, that is very impressive. Going out there and beating Minnesota, Rondell Walker led the Mean Green in points in that game with 12. You get him, you get Aiden Wright as well as their leading scorers, along with Jasper Floyd. And when you look at the McNeese Cowboys, I picked against them in the opener. They were their first game of the season. They were like minus 250 favorites against South Dakota State. We took the Jackrabbits on the money line and we cashed. South Dakota State won that game 80-73. Since then, McNeese has beat the College of Biblical Studies, and they just lost to Alabama on the road, only by 8 points. Sure, close game, but still losing it to the Crimson Tide. For McNeese, Allen Breed has been their leading scorer all season long. He's only played 2 games, though. It's other than him, it's going to be Sincere Parker, who's been averaging 15 a night. I like what North Texas brings in this game. I really do. I think McNeese is still a little bit overhyped, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just because they, had a great season last year in the Southland Conference. They were 17-1 with their only conference loss being to Southeastern Louisiana. They ended up going to the NCAA tournament, though, and losing to Gonzaga by 21 points. I feel like McNeese just gets too much respect right now. They were a 12 seed last season. They only lost 1 conference game. But so far this year, they're 1-2, and sure, they were competitive with Alabama, which is great. Again, Alabama, one of the best teams in the country. That goes without saying. Obviously, Bama has lost now this year, though, on the road at Purdue. I mean, I did predict that to happen. I'm just saying, going to West Lafayette's a tough place to go, and, Bama has a lot of tough games, early in the season. Illinois, Houston, Rutgers, UNC, Creighton, all back to back to back to back. Then they have their big game where they go on the road at UND. But still, for the Crimson Tide, again, beating McNeese, it was never in doubt, though. That's my thing. You look at the final score, it's like, oh, McNeese only lost the game by 8 points. And sure, they covered the spread of 17.5 in that game, but Bama was up by 11 at halftime. And again, they were just kind of coasting the second half. There was never a doubt in my mind that McNeese was going to go to Tuscaloosa and win that basketball game. I think North Texas is able to win this one. They play great defense. I think they should be able to shut down McNeese. And I think North Texas wins a low-scoring game on the road at McNeese. We like plus 3.5 for North Texas. But if you want to take the money line, take the money line as well. I don't mind it either. But here's a game coming up that we like the underdog even more with even better odds. We like plus 150 for the Howard Bison to go on the road to Miami and beat Florida International. And yes, I do tend to pick a lot of road teams because, again, you get the best value with road teams. Because, again, some home teams just get too much respect because they are at home. But I simply just think Howard's the better basketball team here. I really think they are. Florida International so far this season, they've lost 2 games to 2 Division I programs. We're talking about Rice. They went on the road and lost 77-70, and they lost to Southern Utah 80-75 as well on the road. They just beat Florida National. Again, Florida International playing Florida National. What a contest. Guys, their entire team is Jaden Brewer. The entire team is him. They have nothing. Ashton Williamson isn't playing poorly, but Jaden Brewer leads this team in points. He leads them in rebounds. He leads them in assists. He does everything for this basketball team outside of Jaden Brewer, FIU's nothing special. And for Howard, yes, they're 2-2 this season, but they're losses. On the road to Kansas, on the road to Missouri. They beat Dillard, and they just won a overtime game over Tennessee State. Again, do you want to be taking Tennessee State to overtime? Not really. But for Howard, you get Marcus Dockery, who's averaging 15 points a game. Blake Harper's averaging 13. Bryce Harris will give you 11 as well. Howard also is just the way better team last season, too. They were a team who did win their conference. They won. They went 9-5 in conference. They were not all that impressive prior to their tournament, but they ended up beating Morgan State, Norfolk State, and Delaware State to get into the NCAA tournament. They lost in the first 4 to Wagner, but still, they were a better team than Florida International last year. FIU missed the tournament, obviously, but they were pretty poor in the CUSA. They went 5-11, won their first game in the conference tournament to Jacksonville State, who we like to pick against a lot here on the channel. And then, even though they did cash yesterday, whoops. And then losing to Sam Houston did FIU in their second game in the second round of the CUSA tournament. Again, my thing with Florida International, they're just a one-player team. It's all Jaden Brewer, and that's it. For Howard, again, you get production out of this entire team. I think we're fine here. Again, Marcus Dockery is back for his senior season. The point guard, obviously, for Howard, he was there last year for this team, as well as Bryce Harris, who's a senior. Howard is a very experienced team who brings back a lot of seniors for this year. I think they got to be the favorite to win their conference this year again, which, again, the MAEC is not a very good conference as a whole, but still, again, I do like Howard to win it this year. They have won back-to-back games after losing back-to-back games against good teams in Kansas and Mizzou. I think Howard wins this basketball game over Florida International. They do it on the road. I love the value. And again, I like this one more than I do the North Texas game. They're both at the same time. Personally, I'm going to play the Howard game more. I like this one more than I do North Texas. I get it, North Texas is undefeated, but Howard, I think, is playing the much lesser competition in FIU in this game. Give me Howard to go on the road and pick up a huge victory against FIU. Next up, we go on to North Dakota State going on the road to Illinois to take on Southern Illinois. Now, North Dakota State, a huge victory in their last game on the road at the Levy Center in Santa Clara, California over the Broncos. Fun fact, if you look at this is actually kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. Again, if I was more prepared for this, I would just have a separate slide showing you my screen. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I had TikTok open on my phone. Regardless, actually, here, let me see if I can do this real quick. Excuse what's on the screen. Actually, I'll cut to something real quick. Hold on. All right, so yeah, this is what I was gonna show you guys. So look at this. All right, we're on the North Dakota State. We're on the North Dakota State ESPN page. If you zoom in here, hold on. Oh God, zoom in right here. I think you can see my cursor, right? Should be able to. I hope. Yeah, I hope. Hopefully. Right here in the white hoodie, that's me. At the South Dakota State, North Dakota State game. Just saying. I just watched this team in person. And they're pretty good. They are. They're not a bad team. Hopefully you could see my cursor there. I hope. Yeah, hopefully. Regardless, they're a good team. They were down big in that game to Santa Clara. They were losing. They were down by 10 points with 2 minutes to go, and they ended up winning the basketball game. I love the heart out of this North Dakota State team. And their squad, too, is pretty good. I want to give a huge shout out to Jakari White. This is a guy who just passes the eye test. Jakari White, their senior guard, is a monster, and he's been dominating all season long. He's the game against Santa Clara, he played a good game in that one. But that was his lowest scoring game all season with 19. He dropped 22 in the opener, 27 against Illinois State, 22 at Cal State Bakersfield, and then again 19 in the Santa Clara game. Jakari White's a baller. He hit a huge three at the end of the game when they were down by 5 to cut it to 2. Jakari White hit a huge three. They had some huge free throws at the end of the game. I believe, it was by Brendan Watkins. At the very end of the game, Brendan Watkins, who has 12 points in the night, they get a, I think Ball missed the free throw. Brendan Watkins gets the rebound, goes full court, gets fouled, gets hacked, down by 2 with a second left. Brendan Watkins hits 2 free throws, and North Dakota State sends the game into overtime, and they win the game in overtime. This is the game they're coming off of, beating Santa Clara by 8 points, and I get it. SC, Santa Clara, has not been the team that we thought they were going to be this season, obviously. Again, they lost to Nevada, they lost to Arizona State, they lost to North Dakota State. I will be at their game tomorrow, most likely, against the UC Riverside Highlanders. We'll see if SC can win that game. Regardless, it's like $3 to get in the building. It's hilarious. regardless, I love North Dakota State in this spot. We're getting plus 7.5 for the Bison? Sign me up. Sure, they lost by 9 points to Illinois State, but Bakersfield, who wasn't great, beat them by 5. Who has Southern Illinois beat this season? Lost by 10 points to Charleston, beat Missouri S&T, who is that? I don't know. And then lost to Oklahoma State by 8 points, which, okay, whatever. They're led by Elijah Elliott and Kennard Davis. Both those guys have been hooping this year. You get 19 a game out of Elliott so far. Davis has given them 16. I get that. But North Dakota State, they can fight. They play scrappy basketball, and I witnessed that firsthand in their last game in Santa Clara. And sure, am I just hyping up North Dakota State a little bit because I just watched them? Maybe. But I've said it before on the channel. I'll say it again. I am super high on the Summit League. I am. And now South Dakota State lost their last game, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to be picking the Summit League a lot in these non-conference games. I just like this conference a lot. I've watched the Summit League conference for over like 6 years now, truly. I mean, I've seen some great players going out the Summit. I've seen Max Aspis, I've seen Mike Dahm, I've seen some great players walk in and out the door here in the Summit League. And I really like NDSU this season. So I'm going to take them on the plus 7.5. I just feel like this line is way too much. On top of that, I don't mind the money line as well. I don't. Plus 250 doesn't seem all that bad for a Southern Illinois team who has struggled early this season, and for a North Dakota State team that has not been all that bad to start the year. I feel like plus 250 is really good value here. I'm not going to lie. I like North Dakota State to definitely. I think the big pick here is plus 7.5. Take that all day long. But if you are willing to play the plus 250, I'm fine with it. I really am. I like NDSU to go on the road to Carbondale in Illinois and win the basketball game outright as plus 7.5 point underdogs. Give me the Bison of North Dakota State to win this basketball game. As we move on to our next one here, we go to the winless Cal State Fullerton Titans as they are hosting the Idaho State Bobcats. Sorry, Bengals. Oh my goodness. You may be asking yourself, why are we picking a game between the 0-4 Cal State Fullerton Titans and the 2-2 Idaho State Bengals? Well, the answer is Cal State Fullerton's not going to win a game here. Well, they will eventually, but not tonight. It's Idaho State. We're siding with the Bengals in this game. Now, Idaho State doesn't have one player that just really jumps off the table. I'm not going to lie. You know, they got Dylan Darling, you got Jake O'Neal, you got Isaiah Griffin, you got Connor Hollenbeck. Those are their big stars here with the Bengals of Idaho State. Now, Idaho State, you may know them this season because they've played competitive basketball games against Arizona State and USC. They went on the road, obviously, for both those games, lost both of them, but were competitive in points against both those squads, very competitive against USC. SC just kind of pulled away with the last, 20 seconds of that game, but Idaho State was winning that game late, again, at SC. Beat Southern Oregon, beat San Diego, a huge win over USD. Again, we will continue to fade the University of San Diego till the end of time. Idaho State went on the road to beat USD. Now we get them in Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton's just bad, guys. They're a bad basketball team right now. They are 0-4. Their leading scorer right now is Donovan O'Day, and O'Day is averaging 10 points a game. I'm not picking a team whose leading scorer is averaging 10 points a game. There was hope for Cal State Fullerton. Their first game, they played GCU, Grand Canyon. They go on the road. They only lose the game by 10 points. What's happened since? They get blown out at Stanford. Great. Blown out at Colorado. Blown out at Corvallis and at Oregon State. Now they get a home game before they go back on the road for UCLA, Pepperdine, and Pacific, but still back at home opener, Idaho State. Don't give a damn. They're 0-4. They will lose again. I watched this team play Stanford. This is one of the worst basketball teams I've ever watched. I'm sorry. They were winning early in this game. Cal State Fullerton was up, 22-11 in that basketball game. End of the first half, they're down 30-27. They get outscored 50-26 in that second half. I'm never picking Cal State Fullerton again. They're not banned because they don't deserve to be banned because they're not that good. Because, for as much as I'm hating on Jacksonville State, they're not a bad basketball team. They're just banned in my eyes. I'm not going to ban Cal State Fullerton, but I'm not going to pick them. Idaho State should dominate this basketball game. It's not like they've been incredible this season, but I think we're taking USD to go out there and beat Cal State Fullerton, who is also banned, by the way, University of San Diego. But I think we take USD to beat Cal State Fullerton, and Idaho State went on the road and beat USD by 12 points. I get it. It doesn't always work like that. Styles make fights. Styles make basketball games. But still, give me the Bengals of Idaho State to go on the road and beat the Cal State Fullerton Titans. As we go on to our final game of the video, the nightcap, we go on to San Diego. We have got the San Diego State Aztecs hosting Gonzaga. I think this is a bludgeoning. I think Gonzaga's on a whole nother level right now. I think they are. Truly. I think Gonzaga is the best team in basketball, in college basketball right now. I get they're not ranked number one. It's Kansas. I'll make the case right now Gonzaga beats Kansas. Again, it's early in the season. It's really early. You know, Gonzaga, you know, after the next rankings is probably going to be what, Kansas, UConn, Gonzaga, sure, whatever. No, Gonzaga is the best team in college basketball right now. Until proven otherwise, I'm taking Gonzaga over every other team right now in college basketball. They're that impressive for me right now. I love this Gonzaga team. Cleve Battle's been great. Braden Huff's been really good. Nolan Hickman, like they've got guys in the Zaga team. Ryan Nembhard, obviously their point guard, has been, you know, moving the ball. He's averaging 10 assists a game so far this season. Nembhard, obviously one of their main guys. I really like Gonzaga this season. I watched them beat Baylor, a team that was ranked 8 to start the season. I watched them beat them by 38 points. Then they beat Arizona State, which is not a bad team this season. And they blow out UMass Lowell by, 60 points casually. Okay, why is this impressive? They beat a team by 60 points, but not a bad UMass Lowell team, all right? I watched them play UW yesterday, and the Riverhawks stayed in that basketball game. Now, I think that was kind of more of just Washington sucking, but UMass was able to only lose by 5 points to Washington. And I'm not comparing Washington to Gonzaga to the point where, UW is comparable to the Zags. No. But Gonzaga beat a team that Washington beat by 5 points by 60. Gonzaga's on a whole nother level this season, guys. They're getting 11.5 points here on the road against San Diego State. I'd expect them to cover this easily. San Diego State, won their first game where they barely got by UCSD. They beat UCSD by 5 points. They're not the same team anymore. Why? Obviously, because Jaden Ledee's gone. All right, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He was obviously their star when they made it to the Final Four. He's no longer here. I don't even think he's playing in the NBA, right? If I'm not mistaken. Miles Bird, I would say, is their number one right now. The sophomore out of Stockton, California, dropped 20 points in the game over UCSD. I'd say he's their primary ball scorer right now. I'm not sold on them playing, of course, Gonzaga. BJ Davis put up 16 points in their win over Occidental, I believe is who they played. I probably butchered that name, but I don't know. I don't think San Diego State's going to be able to keep up. Gonzaga is going to be able to score against everybody. The way that Arizona State stayed competitive is because, again, ASU does have the scores and does have the capability of just staying in the ball game and scoring and trying to keep up with Gonzaga. The problem for San Diego State is I don't think they're able to stay competitive and continue to fight and continue to put up shots at the pace that Gonzaga is going to be able to score. So give me the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the best team right now in college basketball. Gonzaga will completely dominate San Diego State on the road. I feel good about it. It's their first, true road test this season. They played Baylor at a neutral site, but this is their true first road test of the year going into San Diego. I think Gonzaga wins, and I think they dominate. Give me Gonzaga minus 11.5. We're going to continue to ride. We're going to start to ride, I guess, the best team in college basketball, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. For now, they're the best team in college basketball. We'll see. But folks, that'll do it for our 5 best bets here for November 18th. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like again if you did enjoy. Make sure to leave a comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more college basketball best bets daily. Oh, it's a tongue twister. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.